It's over, Barry. I have the high ground.
Yes.
I'm not gonna stop until you say that you're going to jump over me, and then I'm gonna slice and dice. I'm James Zile. This is,
Barry,
and this
fellow Patreon.
fellow Patreon. This is the Rebel Scum Podcast High Ground episode. We're reviewing fan films. This was your idea. It's a great idea. We've done Mall Apprentice. Check out that one. And we've also done Vader, Shards of the Past, episode 1 by Star Wars Theory. Check out that review also, because they were fun. And they're okay fan films. They're okay. I'm just joking. They're amazing. I love both of them. I don't know if I love them equally, but enough that I have watched them both multiple times, is what I'll say.
I don't know. I kind of find it like flavors of ice cream. Who really hates ice cream?
That's exact. You know what? I think both of them, when I first got into, I was a little bit skeptical. I'm like, a fan film. Let's see this. So good. So good. James, you have much to learn, you jackass. Don't judge a book by its cover. No, I thoroughly enjoyed them. But today we got another one to talk about. And this one blew my mind, actually. It's called Birth of a Monster, a Star Wars story. And it is very, very different from both Maul and Vader. This is not following any characters we know anything about, presumably. It starts off with a boy and it's kind of if C-3PO and the Tin Man from Return to Oz had like a droid cousin, this would be it. Like, I don't know how to describe that droid any other way, but it's creepy, and everything about this looks like an 80s fantasy film, like that. Like, it's like, okay, this is freaking me out. Is Tim Curry going to show up as the devil? I don't know, maybe. But it starts off with this Star Warsy looking hooded character with a giant egg, and then it runs in a building and hides the egg, and then it gets killed. Do you want to take it from there?
Yeah. So as the story progresses, this boy who's scavenging, much like Rey does in Episode 7, stumbles upon this egg and kind of caretakes the creature for a period of time. And so as the story progresses, the creature kind of grows and causes other mayhem, but it still has this kind of almost like dog and man relationship with this boy, and you can kind of see the boy dealing with the harsh life of Tatooine. And then, shall we go with spoilers here?
Well, it's before spoilers. Yeah, we should actually say it does take place all on Tatooine, and it is a boy, but the boy is not an orphan like Rey or Luke. Well, we don't know, but he has like a mother figure who looks like an original trilogy character in a lot of ways. Okay, now we can go into spoilers.
Oh, yeah. So, as the creature hatches and progresses, we find out it's a Rancor. And so the boy comes to it, and eventually, he grows up in this kind of abusive environment with this woman, and, the creature comes to his defense at the end, and then at the end, you watch good old Jabba's sail barge come flying through. And wow, this is the origin story of what the Rancor and the Rancor trainer were. It just completely blew my mind. And I think for me, what I love about these type of fan films, like you highlighted in the beginning, the difference of it. And so that when Disney bought Star Wars, I was very excited that we were going to get stories like this, that it wasn't just going to be like we talked about in prior weeks, the Mater and Fall. Now we're going to talk about a completely different character and setting, but we're going to world build in such a way that you go, oh, okay, I can this little side character that maybe had 5 minutes in the movies now has this incredible backstory, and it's shot it's shot so well. I mean, like you said, 80s practical effects. I mean, the attention to detail with these guys and the fact that they used as little CGI as they could. I mean, it was just the phenomenal story.
Yeah, like, we're in Tunisia. Like, where did they shoot this thing? Because it looks just like as soon as it starts, they're in Tatooine, and then they go through like the caves, and you're like, well, they're in Tatooine. Like, everything about it was familiar to me, and they totally weren't in the same spot they shot A New Hope, but it felt like it. It really felt like it to me. And again, you're following this boy and his droid. The only criticism I'm going to say is when the droid, spoilers, when the droid eats it. I felt like there was a lack of. I was maybe I should watch it again. I've watched it like 3 times, but when the droid eats it, I kind of felt like there was a lack of compassion for the boy and the droid because we see the the boy hurts like when he becomes a man and the Rancor dies. Spoiler for Return of the Jedi, that he's very emotionally scarred by that and it hurts him greatly and he cries and whatever. That I thought when the droid went, it would be a little bit more. Also, I was kind of curious why the Rancor would kill the droid. Did I miss something there? Because I just
Yeah, that threw me off too because as I was watching it, I got very much the kind of Anakin 3PO vibe from the
yeah
boy and the droid, and so um, I just kind of I know for me, I kind of personally just boiled it down to, hey, he was in the wrong place at the wrong
yeah.
time, and this creature's dangerous, and tough luck it happened to be his companion,
I
which
just
seemed a
thought
bit heartless for me.
I just thought because the droid was with the boy a lot that the Rancor would kind of know who the droid was and not not kill it, rip his legs off basically.
Yeah.
But when that sail barge came down, my jaw dropped. Then you have Gamorrean guards, where my Gamorrean guards love them. They come out, and then it ends with the reveal of Bib Fortuna, and it's like, okay, so this is the ultimate prequel right here.
Yes, I loved it. I mean the attention on the cinematography. I love the practical effects. They're pulling Lucas and Jim Henson moves by here's this establishing shot and here's this random creature, monster, droid thing doing something to pass the time while we go on to the next scene that actually has the story, and that they were able to do this with puppeteering and they just some of the cosplaying tutorials out there are really incredible for props like that. You can see this. Okay, now these people are putting these skills in with a budget, and this is what we're able to pull off. Something that feels like a real '80s movie, as though, hey, this is something that happened in between 5 and 6, and the early 1980s.
I really thought that this was gonna end with like a Roxette song. Like that's how 80s this felt. It was like, are they? Like I was like, they're on Thunderdome, but are they? Or they're on Thunder on Tatooine, but are they gonna make their way to Thunderdome? Like it was. It really felt like the Lost Boys from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. I was like, this is awesome. Where's Tina Turner? And that the robot, I don't know if he had a name or not. I can't remember. But he, what did he keep calling? He was like, what does he call the child? The boy. He refers to him all the time as something. And I thought the voice, whoever portrayed the droid, his voice I thought was excellent for it as well. And then the boy's mother or guardian or whatever, she was pure. It's not only 80s, but it reminded me a lot of 80s Star Wars. If you watch the old Droids cartoons, I felt like she would have fit into that cartoon on some level. If you go back and you watch those, I really think you'd be like, oh, she looks like she belongs in the Droids cartoon.
And unfortunately for me, I never saw the Droids cartoon. So,
Well, but luckily you're on Patreon, and I'll be
YouTube,
doing my Droids rewatch soon. I'm not even joking. I've been watching it.
awesome.
I'm not. There's a character called Kybo Ren.
Hmm.
I'm not joking.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Uh, with the one thing with this too is they could even make a prequel about who the heck is this person with the egg, because the beginning of this is the exact same as the Super Mario Brother movie from the 90s, where they both start off with somebody carrying an egg and hiding an egg. So I would like to know why they brought this egg there, especially since we know that Rancors are from Dathomir. So if you made this movie, make a prequel to show us how we got here. How would you rank this movie in terms of fan films? Do you think that the budget and everything? Well, there was probably a very minuscule budget. Is this something that you would? Because you mentioned last week about how fan films should be made canon. Is this something that you would put on Disney Plus? Let's say.
I think for me, I would, just because I am very much a fan of making something from nothing. So I would love to study the budget these guys had, and just with some of the tutorials out there now on cosplaying, and if you're into that and it's a passion of yours, you're watching these people create incredible props with like dollar store products. And to me, I go to as an operations and budget person, I go, these guys pulled off this amazing feat with practical effects that Hollywood maybe spend millions of dollars on. They've done it for a couple thousand, and with items you can find every day. And just that it takes someone with an artisan skill set to just look at something and say, you know what, I can create an awesome droid from these parts I just picked up at the dollar store. And then to see that, and I know for me, there's a guy I watch called Create Sci-Fi. That's all his channel is about. It's amazing. He's got some independent films, but it's awesome to watch this guy just go into the dollar shop and build an amazing prop that would seem like it's out of Hollywood.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's the the set design and the costumes and the props. It's all just, you forget that these are just fans of Star Wars. You forget that there might be a $20 budget. You know, they might have been like, well, we can make the boy's costume, but it has to be under $100 or something like that. And you forget how cheaply these things were made, how cost effectively, I shouldn't say cheaply, how cost effectively everything had to be. And, you know, these people aren't getting paid to make this either. And the fact that somebody said, I want to tell a story about the Rancor and his owner from Jabba's palace, when how they first met and how that bond, that is fan, for me personally, that is fandom at its finest. Is somebody
Absolutely.
who's like, because that Rancor and that death scene has always, I think it's always hit everybody who is a kid, at least in the 80s, watching that for the first time. It hit everybody the same way, where you're actually like, oh my God, he's gonna kill Luke, kill the Rancor. Then he kill the Rancor and you're like, yay. And then you see the human element brought in, that, you know, a monster is not always a monster.
Yes, very much so. And I love, again, a character you see for 5 minutes you don't really think of, has an action figure, but now we get this compelling story of, wow. I mean, I can see why he had an emotional breakdown in episode 6, where here I am not watching it within this scope, going, okay, that's a really weird reason for you to get upset. But now we can understand and see, now there's a bigger story here, that him and this creature have been around for years, and I mean, they're practically raised together, and there's this kinship of dog and master going on, and the film just really highlighted that out. And I think for me, the fan films, again, when we review the original films, the prequels and the sequels, with these little tidbits that we throw in, that maybe 15, 20 minutes of a film, we begin to appreciate the other movies more often, because now we know the backstory and the world building and the lore. And again, this was just such a unique film to take such an oddity, something you would have easily glazed over in the episode 6, and then fill it with something compelling and shoot it that isn't your typical lightsaber dual force battle. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, this is the story of the Rancor and his master and how they came to be.
It's a perfect short film. It's what short films were made for. Just, it's like when you read a book, like from a certain point of view, those little stories. This is one of them. This is a little story. It's fun. It gives you a little bit of detail on something that you don't even really need, but it enhances that moment even more. And that's what I like about it. Anything you want to say before we wrap this one up?
Yes, well, since we can make a fan film about that, I want to see Jack Porkins' backstory, and let's see Jar Jar Binks in his glory.
I want to see Jar Jar Binks in his glory as well. I want to see him why he was banished. I want to see that Jar Jar Binks.
Absolutely.
I want to see, the one thing I've been dreaming about for a long, long time is I want to see an Ewok and a Gungan sharing a bevy together. I want nothing more than that. Somebody make this happen for me. Just put an Ewok and a Gungan and have them drinking something together and having a good time. And everybody kind of, but in the corner, like nobody wants to associate with them whatsoever. That's what I want right there.
Disney, that sounds like a Resistance episode.
Ba, 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 da. Yeah, I can't wait. All right, Barry, this has been High Ground. We're reviewing fan films. We'll be back hopefully next week. We don't know. We'll figure it out.
Go through the list.
Yeah, we'll go through it. Thanks so much for joining me to talk about The Birth of a Monster, a Star Wars story. And until next time, may the force of others be with you.
Always.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.